Hello, and welcome to the Connection Architect Certificate Program and your chance to meet the mentors who are ready to add real-time value to your experience in the community. I'm your host and Candy Community Builder, Michelle Hersai-Gnasif. Today, we're going to get real with one of our learning level mentors, Jordan Guildford. We'll hear how Jordan is creating meaningful connecting points in her community and why it matters to put connections first. So Jordan, it's such a pleasure to have you here today. And I would love for you to take a few moments to let us know a little bit about you, your career, and what's happening in your world today.
Sure, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for this. I am certainly very excited to take on this role as a mentor in this group. So a quick 30 seconds on me. I was raised on a little hobby farm in rural Nova Scotia, then moved to Calgary, Alberta, and I created what was supposed to be a very small charitable act of collecting gently used jewelry, cleaning it, packaging it, and giving it as Christmas gifts to women in shelters who had survived domestic abuse. And it just blew up. We're now a nationally registered charity with 3 celebrity ambassadors, 150 ambassadors across Canada. We've given out 18,000 of those gifts. We have a scholarship program for survivors of domestic abuse. We now have a couple new initiatives too that I'm also really excited about. We've had enormous support from the media. And yeah, Gems for Gems is a living example of exactly what can be achieved through connection. So I certainly consider myself very well suited for this role as I've lived it. And I'm just blown away by it daily. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. I also have a consulting business now as well for startups and new NPO ideas or anything like that. I am well positioned to be able to take them to the next level.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Gems for Gems has been a pretty powerful force especially in the Calgary region, which is where you're from. And so I'm really curious to hear what connection means to you, and not just in your business, but in general terms in your life and how that influences your business.
Sure. So connection to me is the life source of Gems for Gems. It has been the driver, has been what has made us so scalable. But I think it's important to understand that connection is multifaceted, and I mean that even outside of professional versus personal, because even in a professional capacity, you can have a connection with someone and have it be suited for one area, but not all areas. So I think it's important not to paint all forms of connection and likability and all of that with the same brush, because I think it can be a dangerous thing if you don't understand that it has many levels and different faces and possibilities as much as pitfalls.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that you bring up that point, because the Connection Architect program is about helping everyday planners discover their unique approach and their unique way of connecting to maximize the connections that they have around them. Because just like you so eloquently pointed out, is that it's not a one size fits all or like a formula that everyone can follow and get success. You truly need to understand and know yourself, and also know your community to be able to maximize those connections. So I think that's a great point.
Thank you. Also to know as well, like where you want to go. I think that a lot of us look just at the end of our nose, but we have to be making decisions and the right connections for where we want to go and where we are. So I think being mentally nimble is very important when it comes to this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a good point. So then now that leads me on into my next question, because I'm curious to hear more about how you believe creating better connections enhances our community at large.
Well, I go back to the same thing I said about gems. I think that connection is the life source of any community, and be it around an organization, around your family, around your specific town or village or city. But I think that connections need to be made strategically. and knowing your community and knowing those within your community, you can really focus on their strengths and not have to be in a position where you're compensating for the weaknesses, as long as you do it strategically, you know?
Yeah, I know, I agree with you. And as event planners, we are working with multidisciplinary teams, and we're not meant to be all the things or do all the things in a project or in the planning, process. So what you're describing is really, what I'm understanding, what I'm hearing from that is that we need to be able to discern like where our connecting abilities are going to maximize the most value, so that we can immerse ourselves in what we can truly accelerate and do, but also delegate at the same time. And that's how we really leverage our resources. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I mean, you can take me as an example. Outwardly, I look like a very hard worker, very well connected, yada, 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 yada. But what the reality is, yeah, I'm a hard worker. Yes, I've been able to achieve a lot, but it hasn't been me achieving it. One of the things that people say about me a lot is, oh, she's so humble. She's a realist. She did not do this on her own. And one of the things that I consider my biggest strength is knowing all my weaknesses and not having any negative feelings about them. I look at my weaknesses as opportunities and doors that have now opened for me to be able to enhance GEMS and myself by working with other people. But I would not be the right person for someone to look at for certain types of connection, even though I might look like it. So that really gets back to knowing your community, knowing the people within your community, and taking time to make the relationship so that you work within people's strengths, instead of looking and trying to leverage things that are not actually a fit.
Yeah, that is such a great point. And it is kind of leading me into our last question, which is, what are you the most excited about with sharing with our community as a learning level mentor? And it sounds like, this kind of mindset and approach is part of that.
Very much so. So what I'm most excited about is showing the people in your group that you don't need to spend thousands and thousands and thousands on marketing and all kinds of other things, that you can leverage people who care, people who buy into what you're doing, and mutually work together to be able to benefit both entities. Gems for Gems has never had a quote unquote marketing budget because we've never needed it. We have spent money on marketing occasionally when it made sense to do it, but for the most part, we work with people. We're highly collaborative, and the reason why we've been able to achieve what we have. I mean, we were the featured charity at the Academy Awards Gifting Suite, at the Toronto Film Festival Gifting Suite. We've had incredible opportunities happen, and it has all been from working together and partnering strategically. And that all boils down to connection and knowing who and when to be able to make that connection. So I am very excited to be able to show and help people understand that there's so much that's possible, and you don't have to be good at even a lot. You just have to be good at what you are good at, and then don't worry about the rest of it. Just be open and willing to work with other people.
Yeah, I love that. Be good at what you are. That is such a good takeaway. I'm gonna write that on a Post-it note and put it on my monitor. That's a good one.
You don't need to be. So many people worry, especially in the entrepreneurial space, that they stop themselves because they're not good at marketing, they're not good at budgeting, they're not good at whatever. It doesn't matter. Just be good at what you are, and that's that. And be willing to work with other people, and anything is possible from that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been such a pleasure meeting you, Jordan. And I know that you're just going to add tremendous value to the Connection Architect community. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better and to discovering what is possible this year. And I just want to let everybody who's watching know that you can connect with Jordan on LinkedIn and Gems for Gems. You can find them. Maybe Jordan, you can let us know a little bit more about how people connect with you offline.
Sure. You can reach me through any of the GEMS platforms. Just make a note. We have people running them, so just make a note that for Jordan, or please get this to Jordan. And yeah, so I'm very, very accessible. Also LinkedIn, Facebook. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. There's information on TheConnectionArchitect.ca about our programs and the community offerings. So I encourage you to have a look, and hopefully we'll see you in the program coming soon.